Yeah, this is why they call them the Mafia with two A's at the end, which stands for, it's a nice acronym, because they all share the same interests, so they kind of help each other in some ways. In this case, what you might call the Dutch Mafia with two A's at the end, they represent certain interests in Europe, but they have the same interests as the, is it the BPI in the UK?
Yeah,
or BPI?
yeah, BPI, yeah.
And you have...
So that's just the posh Mafia, the Mafia!
Yeah, well...
yeah, then there's the fake mafia. Then there's, like he was pointing out, the fake mafia. This has become the new ambulance chaser. Prosecuting copyright or DRM violations or rebroadcast violations, even when you're not the copyright holder.
Yes, exactly.
The thing that I don't understand is the music, well, the whole recording industry is stuck in legacy mode. They always have been. So they don't want to do anything. When it was changing to CDs, they didn't want to encourage CDs because it would cannibalise the tapes and the vinyl sales. And then when CDs turned out to be just fine, it's all these different steps, moving on to DVDs and things like that. And you say, well, don't want to encourage this online stuff because that will cannibalise the DVDs and the CD market. And it's crazy. They demand all these high prices of any new service that people actually want to use, to the point where there's no point in them starting up. I mean, how many startups have tried to set up a service that people actually want to use, and then when they go to the major studios to say, right, can we license your tunes and you'll get payments and whatever for them, the studios put some sort of ridiculous price on it just to start up. And like, well, we can't even start a business like that. It's a complete non-starter.
Well, you know what? We're all Doctor Who fans here. Do you know how many people went to Big Finish and the BBC saying, "Come on, guys, put the audio adventures online downloadable"? It took 4 years for that to happen because. Well,
the thing is with the BBC is paid for by an extortion racket that they call the TV license in the UK. Which means it's UK people who pay for it, and therefore they need to restrict all the content that's paid for by that to UK people. That's why people are complaining. People outside the UK are complaining. Look, why can I not pay for Doctor Who or The Office or EastEnders or whatever it is? They see something they want from the BBC, they're happy to pay for it. But the BBC won't let them, and I suppose they're not allowed to. I think they're gradually turning to change that, where they can actually turn a profit on it. But for a lot of it, they just can't do it.
That's incredibly short. I agree with you. That's why they're so asinine about it. But it's incredibly short-sighted because I bet they could subsidize their entire television network from revenues outside of the UK. And lower.
That's what they do with the site now. The BBC website is actually having advertisements if you're not in the UK. So people who actually pay the BBC in the UK don't have to have any advertisements, but people from the outside who want to access the site will in fact subsidize it by watching ads and things like that.
And that's fine,
Right. Well, Roy, have you got another track for us, or?
Yeah. Well, the next one is called "It's 'Cause I Said So," and the artist is Fans.
It's
welcome back, and this is the third and final section of the show. So, Roy or whoever wants to start us off with our final topic for the evening.
Well, Gordon wanted to make a couple of points. We were talking about it during we played a track. Gordon wanted to make a couple of additions to the episode we had yesterday about Skype.
Yeah, I was actually on a family meal last night, so I couldn't make it last night. But yeah, I was listening to yesterday's show, and I mean, a lot of the different angles were brought up, but there was two really that struck me as kind of obvious that, I don't know, somehow you guys missed when you were discussing it. One was the patents. Microsoft love patents. They love patent extortion. So I can imagine them, now that they've got Skype's patents, that they'll go to other VoIP providers and say, oh, looky, you've got this voice over IP thing. Let's just have a look in our wee patent portfolio. Oh, you know what? We own the idea. You'll be hearing from our lawyers. Cough up.
I didn't think to bring that up, but you're right. I can see anybody who tries to compete with Skype for the next 10 years getting a Microsoft nuisance patent suit going, you infringe on a patent that should never have been granted.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, but is it true that Skype has got some patents or patent pools?
Yes. As a matter of fact, when eBay bought Skype a while back, Skype retained ownership of the key patents that make it work, so eBay couldn't actually sell it to anybody. So what they did was sold it back to Skype, who then sold it to this little company who's now sold it to Microsoft.
Right, yeah, okay. And the second point Gordon was going to make, I think he explained to me earlier.
Yeah, I did come into IRC, mention it in IRC. The other thing is about integration with Office. Now, when Google bought Gizmo, they didn't keep it going as Gizmo. They used that technology and integrated it into Google Chat, and it became Google Voice. It's Gizmo technology, but they've integrated it in, and Gizmo is basically abandoned as a separate standalone client. Now, I thought, well, if Microsoft, surely one of the things that they would use to lock into Microsoft Office is they're always on about cloud and collaboration and working, being the default Office suite to work in a collaboration document and whatever, spreadsheet and Word document and whatever. Now, how good would that be to have like a little Skype icon inside Word that you could click and actually connect and share stuff like that? And if that's all integrated into it, it's further reason to force people to say, look, all our Office is using Office 2012 or whatever it is, and then say, well, you've got to have that because that's how we collaborate in our